Welcome back, guys, to Shifted Views, where we talk and discuss it all with no judgment. Today, I have a special guest, Faraz, who is a high performance coach. How are you doing today, Faraz?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm
Thank,
glad to be here.
thank you for coming,
I couldn't miss it for anything.
bro. I have some good questions here for you.
Is that so? Okay.
Relationship and business.
Okay. Exactly what I do, huh?
It's a tricky one.
All right, let's do it, man.
But before we start, guys, some of you haven't yet subscribed. So please go ahead and subscribe. When that being said, let's get started. Now, Faraz, my first question for you is, what are your thoughts and including your significant other in your business ventures?
Oh man, we're getting right into that one, huh?
Yes, sir.
So this one is a good question because it depends, right?
Mhm.
First of all, you need to understand and figure out with your significant other what type of relationship you guys are trying to have, right? Because let's say this is your wife or your husband and you guys are going after a business venture together.
Right.
It's going to put a lot of stress and a lot of turbulent times on the relationship.
But it does depend, though.
It does depend, right? And it depends because it depends on the like-mindedness,
Mhm.
what their mind is like.
Right.
Or sometimes it's like it's better off not including them in your business venture, but more so having them as like a shoulder to lean on,
Okay.
right? Because it goes both ways. Where if you can include them and you guys are kind of going at this together,
Uh-huh.
and you guys are now going with the business life, and you kind of forget about your personal life, your relationship, because everything kind of becomes a business, which is really difficult for a lot of couples to take out of.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that couples are not successful in doing that. Absolutely. On the bright side, you guys build an empire together. But I think it really just comes down to having direct communication, being very open. It's
Okay.
like, hey, this is what our plan, like this is what the plan is. And if you guys align on the same thing and you guys can go after it and you understand that this will be hard, there will be some days that will not be easy and we can still get through it, then absolutely go for it. Do it 100%. I think who else better to do business with is your significant other,
All
right?
right.
The best thing to
True.
do. But at the same time, the flip hand, if your significant other is not into business, they don't want to take on that pressure, it's okay. It's fine. Let them be. Don't force them into something they don't want to do. Maybe they're seeing the other part of the lens. Maybe they've had past trauma with like their dad or their mom who was
That
a
usually happens.
yeah, they've had who was a business person, like they were never around family and they don't
Yeah.
want that to happen to them.
Right.
So it really just comes down to communication and how what you two want out of life. Doesn't matter about what anyone else says. It's about what you two want out of life.
Okay. Now, how do you balance entrepreneurship and a healthy relationship?
Yeah, I guess this kind of comes in right with that question, the first one there, right? Because balance with entrepreneurship, right? I'll say this: it's very difficult. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, absolutely. When you're starting off, you're the only one doing everything. I mean, you're the founder, you're the owner, you're the accountant, you're the HR, you're like everything. You're the website designer, and so that puts on a lot of pressure, a lot of stress onto you. And majority of the times, you're gonna bring that at home.
Right.
You're gonna put that on your significant other.
Mhm.
And so, what you, as let's say the business owner, the individual, needs to understand is that yes, you're trying to chase something that's going to be very successful one day. At least you hope so, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to set the proper expectations if you're in a relationship, because if
Right.
you're going after something,
Mhm.
you also need to respect your significant other.
True.
You have to give them the time
Right.
because you can't be that person who's like, I'm going to go after this business, chase that, and like never give that person the time of day,
Right.
because you're going to fail on your personal side, your relationship side.
Right.
And
Right.
I personally believe life is like this circle, this piece of a pizza that has like
Right.
so many different pieces there that you have to make sure you balance out properly. The thing is, when you have kids involved, like you cannot take those risks that you would be able to take if you're single or just don't have kids in general.
Right.
Right? When you're a parent, which I'm not yet, but one day I will be, right? Is that at least what my understanding, at least what I'm going to be doing with my life and how I've set up my life is that I go hard now. I work really hard and put in all the effort now
Mhm.
because once I do have kids
Right.
enter the world and they're my kids, I want to be able to scale back, not necessarily scale back my business and make less money, more so, you know, strategically buy back my time so I can spend more time with my family and build that relationship. Because most of the times if we look at it, you really have, as a parent, you only have until about from the time they're born
Right.
to 12 years of age for them to be with you. Because once they hit that teenager years, they think they're adults. They're gone. They're gone to the world, right?
Right.
And then once they're 18, college, they're gone. And then your kid starts to kind of come back in your life around the age of 25. And that's when they start realizing, right? And there's a saying, it's like at first your kid loves you, then the second part is your kid hates you, and then your kid understands you. They understand the struggle that you went through. They understand why you were so hard on them. They understand everything.
As they mature.
And so when you have only till about birth, till 12 years old, I want to capitalize on that years as much as possible. I want to be able to support my wife and give her that help. I want to be able to know that I've gotten my business needs. Of course, I'll still be going to my business, but I understand that I don't have to be there.
Right.
Because this is more important to me. Family is a lot more important to me, my kids, and giving them this time, you know, knowing that their father was there for them, and also teaching them those lessons, teaching them, like, you know, having fun, playing a sport together, being able to show up to their soccer practice, basketball, football, and just, again, supporting my wife and a family as a whole.
So what made you think like that? Did you have an example? Did you see it? Like, how did you get it?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question, man. I wasn't always like this. I was always the person that goes like, you know, go after it. Even if I one day have a wife, have a family, I'm still gonna keep going. But then I realized it's that, you know, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to them of that they're having an absent father, they're having an absent husband. It's more important for me to understand is that if my business ventures or anything that I'm going to start, obviously I need to consult with my significant other first. Be like, this is what I'm going to go after. This is the plan, and lay it out. Let them know. Like that's the most important thing you need to do. You owe them that.
Goes back to communication.
Exactly. You owe them the understanding of like, this is the blueprint. I'm doing this for the both of us in our future. If you want me to continue, it's going to be hard. Very difficult, but if you say don't do this, I will not do this. Plain and simple. If they say yes, do it, be like, let's do it. I'll do it. And that's how I've, you know, matured. It's all about maturity.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't always like this, but I learned is that relationships matter, especially with people who are close to you and that matter to you, your wife, your significant other, your husband, your kids, because they remember this in the future.
Yeah.
Your kids will see that, like, dad and mom were never around.
I do remember these things.
Right? And that's like the last thing you want them to ever be like in the future, saying you were never around because you were so focused on making money.
Yeah.
Even though you're making money to better their life, they don't care about that. Because at that time when they're young, they only care about their dad and mom. Their dad is their superhero.
Yeah.
Their mom is like the mother, the nurturer. They only care about that. They want that.
Yeah, because you're right. Growing up, my dad was always working. He was around to teach me, school me. He did his best to be there. As we grow up, we do think about these things, you know? Man, my dad wasn't there, or what did he do for me, you know? So
yeah, dude, especially now that we are in the world that we're in, right? Or this work from home world, virtual world, right? I mean, I strongly believe is that, like, everyone should be working hard now. If you don't have any kids, if you're single, you don't have any kids, work your absolute hardest.
Right.
Okay. Now you're in a relationship, you're married. Okay. Still work hard, but you need to now give time. You need to build that relationship because it's a lifetime. Your marriage is going to be a lifetime, right? That's what we're hoping for. So you need to carve out and treat it just like your job, your business, because it's so important. You have to be successful in that.
Yeah.
And then when you have kids involved, oh man, like, then you need to be like, I need to scale it down, dial it back, and be a lot more strategic at how I'm moving, because then you're going to have situations like that And
Yeah.
again, I've had very similar situations where my dad was working.
Yeah.
I have 3 other older siblings, 4 kids in total, and my dad's only one providing.
Yeah.
Right? My mom's taking care of the kids, and I love my dad. He did everything for me and all my other siblings, my family. But at the end of the day, it was like, damn, he wasn't around sometimes.
Yeah.
And when I was in that phase of like that 13 to like 18-year-old
Yeah.
phase, right, when you resent your parents, you hate them, it was like, you never did anything for me.
Yeah.
But then when you go to that phase that I'm in now,
Mhm.
I realize I
Oh
understand.
yeah, I understand.
I'm like, you know what? He did that for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But for me, and I encourage everyone else, like I help individuals, I help business owners.
Mhm.
I tell them like, high performance doesn't always mean that you need to get shit done. You need to be always at it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean that. Like you can have $1 billion, but then what if you have no family,
Yeah.
no loved ones that care about you? It doesn't
Right.
matter. Like I'd rather you take less money and have such a happy, loving family
Right.
that love you.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach all about, and what I coach is that how do we figure out your entire life? Every single part of your life, how do we make sure it's all high performing?
To my knowledge, you work from home, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So now, how do you establish boundaries between your personal life and your business when working from home?
It's hard. It is very hard.
What makes it so?
Well, look at it this way, right? I mean, I've had past experiences where my significant other we both worked from home,
Mhm.
and we were good thing we had 2 separate rooms. Like I was in the office and she was, in a different room, but
Mhm.
it puts everything, like there's too much, you're on top of each other.
Right.
And it's great in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, work from home, we can do this, but then
Yeah.
it all mixes together.
Yeah.
Like you guys see each other all day, and then when it's time to really kindle and be together, you're like, I want to separate.
Yeah.
I want to do my own thing because I saw you all day. Your
Yeah.
mind tricks you.
You need time to miss each other. So
Exactly.
men and women need your time apart.
Right, and it kind of goes to an additional point is that back in the day when people were going to the office,
Right.
the drive back home,
Yeah.
that 30 to 45-minute drive back home was like to calm down, to think, to let go of the stupid stuff that's on my mind,
Yeah.
and just to vent out to myself.
Right.
But then when you take that out, everything that happens is like immediate action, right?
Yeah.
And I look back and it's absolutely like, looking back now, I mean, sure, what I could have done and what I recommend to people now is that put as much distance as possible.
Mhm.
If one of you can go work from somewhere else, a Starbucks, if your apartment complex has a clubhouse, go work there. Like, make it as if you guys are not working from home,
Yeah.
but like you're working from somewhere else, but still close enough.
Okay.
And then you guys can come back, talk about your day, because it's really, really, really important. And it goes back to literally balancing out your entire life.
Yeah.
You have to make sure everything is good. And that's the best thing I can say is work from home is great, but it's a devil at the same time. It's a double-edged sword. It's great. It's
Yeah.
great when it comes to traveling.
Right.
You
Right.
can work from anywhere, all this, but man, it can become also quite negative pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, this next question is a bit tricky because it falls within the relationship realm.
Mhm.
But if you had to choose to be in business with a friend or a sibling, what would you choose?
I choose neither.
Why?
The reason why I would do that is because it goes back to relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Because look, for me, I want to see my best friends flourish and do their own thing
Mhm.
and become successful, and we can all celebrate that.
Right.
Right. For example, my great friends, I've got one into the car business who
Mhm.
buys and restores vehicles. I got in the watch collection business
Mhm.
who does high-end luxury watches. I've got one in who does software engineering,
Mhm.
startups.
Yeah.
And then it allows us all to kind of collaborate and kind of come back together and talk about those things. Now, let's say like we got into business together
Mhm.
and something failed.
Something goes wrong.
Something goes wrong. Money is lost.
Yeah.
It's that resentment that's held. And like you don't have that same relationship ever again.
But you have to think stuff like that happens.
But don't let it happen. That's what I say. I personally don't let it happen. especially, and then the other side of thing is siblings, right? If I'm
Yeah.
gonna like, I want to have that personal connection with my siblings. Like, for example, if we're at a cookout
Mhm.
and we're doing business together with me and my brother, are we gonna talk about the business or personal life? Most likely the business.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a
Yeah.
Sunday and we don't work tomorrow. We're gonna be talking about business. Like, we should do this tomorrow. We should
Yeah.
do that. We have that
Yeah.
meeting. Let's plan for it.
Okay.
Versus saying, how's life? How are the kids? And just planning a trip. That's how I perceive it.
So you value that more, the intimacy.
Of your relationships with your friends,
Yeah.
and your siblings. Because the thing is this, right? And I'm sure you've heard the saying, never mix blood with money. Because money, yes, it is the root of all evil.
It is.
Can be. Money is a tool, right? Money is a tool
Mhm.
that can get you to different places. It can solve a lot of problems,
Right.
right?
Right.
But it can also cause a lot of problems
It does.
because not everyone understands the wealth that you may generate. They may see that.
Yeah.
Why not help your family out instead? Right? Help them out.
Yeah.
Help them out, or maybe they come work for you. They have a job. They're specialized in some other area, but maybe having them as business partners may not be the best idea. And that's what I like to keep distance from. I have all love for them, and that's me saying I love you. Because I don't ever want that relationship to be broken because of failed business venture. I think that's the healthiest way to go about it. I mean, of course, there's exceptions that people have made it very successful by doing business with their
Yeah. 'Cause
brothers or sisters.
I've seen that.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm sure it works out.
Yeah.
And if you guys have a proper communication, but me personally,
Mhm.
I've seen it too much, man. I've seen it with my own parents, siblings.
Yeah.
I've heard from other individuals who've said their parents did this.
Yeah.
Business venture failed, and the parents never talk again,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it causes a huge strain. So it's a case by case situation. And again, the saying is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Never mix blood with money.
Words to live by.
I don't know. Maybe you can live with anything you want, but that's what I live by.
So now, for people that are starting a business, what is a piece of advice you could give them?
Well, really, okay. So I think the way I want to answer this question is if I'm going to go back to the time when I was starting my business, and again, I started many businesses. I think I'm on my fourth business venture now, and I always tell people is that try everything, and be quick to move on to the next thing.
Be quick to move on. I usually hear that focus on one thing for now.
I'll tell you. Let me finish there, because the thing is that you want to whatever you're going to go after, and be simple about it. Okay, most people here, majority of the world is not going to be the next Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg,
Right.
Jeff Bezos. That's not going to happen. We need to be real with each other, with ourselves. That's not going to happen. That's an exception, a 0.0001% chance that we'll have another one of those guys in this world, or girls.
Yeah.
So I say, don't overcomplicate it. Go after something, right? And go after it. Give it your full intention.
Right.
3 to 6 months. Give it a try.
Mhm.
If you're not seeing any kind of improvement or any kind of leeway, and you just completely see this is not going to work out, and you also get advice from other people, mentorship, this may not be the best thing to go after. Try something else. Your first business venture may not be the only one that clicks. It's most likely not going to be the one that clicks.
Right.
Some people go through 20 different tries and then it hits.
That's true.
Right? Of course, when you're doing it, and I say that be quick to move on to the next thing, I say that because in business, things move, especially this time, 2024, things are moving fast.
Yeah.
And you need to be quick with it. Very quick with it.
Yeah.
Because people that, for example, let's say back in the day started, their own shipping business, did they know that Amazon would come around and take over their business? No. Those guys are done. They're long gone.
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to adapt.
Yeah.
And once you can understand that concept and hone in on that thing, whatever you're good at, do that. Do it. And then it unlocks different areas. My first business I started was supposed to be a warehouse fulfillment business. Mm-hmm. Tried it, gave everything to it for 6 months, did not work out. Okay. I knew that, I need to move on. You can't put your emotions to it. It's business. It's not personal.
Okay.
Once you take your emotions out of it, you can move on to the next thing because you're just burning money.
But don't you always have that in the back of your head thinking, maybe if I had tried a little bit harder, went a little bit longer than those 3 6 months, it could have worked.
No, because the thing is, for the way I look at it, I'm very strategy driven.
Mhm.
I'm gonna paint every single area,
Mhm.
every single path.
All right.
I'm gonna like look at it. Like if I go down this route, what would happen? This would happen. Because I think obviously as a founder, as a CEO,
Mhm.
I think long term, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead, and I work my way backwards.
You
That's
work your way backwards.
always. And I tell everyone this. People think I don't know what to do with life. I'm like,
Elaborate on that. You work your way backwards.
so I always coach everybody and my clients, what's your 25-year plan? Start all with the top
Okay.
and work your way backwards. How do you get there?
Okay.
How do you get there? Right? Like, why would you go from tomorrow? Work your way backwards. Like, my goal is to create 1 million jobs in my lifetime. That's my overall 25-year plan, right? Create 1 million jobs around the entire world.
Mhm.
Okay, I know that's my North Star. I need to work towards that. And now I work my way backwards.
Okay.
Versus taking one step at a time and then figuring out, oh, this is what my goal is. And once you can understand your North Star, the light at the end of the tunnel,
Mhm.
you have a path to go after,
Right.
right? And once you can start on that path, then your different business ventures could fail, but your goal is still the same.
Yeah.
You're still going towards that goal. And you
Yeah.
go towards it, and you keep itching at it, you keep
Mhm.
breaking the ice. And dude, I mean, business is literally like waking up every single day and getting kicked in the balls every single day.
Yeah.
And some days are hard, some days are not, but you're still gonna get kicked in the balls.
Yeah.
And you still have to be willing to show up the next day.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And if you can understand that, dude, you're gonna be a good entrepreneur because it never gets easier.
Talking about shifted views, because that's the first I've heard that. We are always told to work our way up, the stairs, one stairs at a time. But you want to do it backwards.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it works for you.
But believe everyone should think that way. Because listen, an employee
Mhm.
thinks about his or her paycheck for the next week. A
Right.
CEO thinks about his or her bonus at the end of the year. They think about the 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year plan.
Yeah.
Before Steve Jobs,
Mhm.
the founder of Apple,
Mhm.
passed away, he had already planned out and ready to go the next 5 iPhones that were supposed to come out. They were already ready to go.
Yeah.
So when Tim Cook, the current CEO, took over, that was already set in stone. Look at these big look at these big corporations and follow them. You think they're waiting for every single year? Okay, October comes around, iPhone release. Now we're gonna start working on a new iPhone? No,
Wow.
they have a research and development team already working 5, 10 years ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're telling you, they're showing you stuff when it's already like, to them it's like nothing.
Yeah.
But to us, the consumer, we're like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
AI.
Right.
AI has been around for 10 years.
It's been there. Yeah.
Right? It's been
Yeah.
around for 10 years.
Right.
So think like a founder, think like a CEO, and you're going to get so much further ahead in life. And that's when I changed my mindset from a very young age. You know, when I changed my mindset from being an employee to a CEO, life was a lot better for me because I had a lot more clear direction on where I want to go with.
Yeah.
And that's what I recommend anyone doing.
Thank you for that. I'm gonna take that advice.
Absolutely. I think this is good because, I mean, not only for you, but I think your viewers as well. Like
Right.
everyone's watching here is because, everyone is kind of in this rut of life that we're trying to all make money.
Mhm.
Everyone wants to make it rich. Everyone wants to do something really big, quick and easy.
Yeah.
It's like, don't try to rush it. Don't try to make money overnight. It's going to take time. Something worth having is going to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because if I was to give you $1 million tomorrow and you've never seen, touched,
Right.
felt, or don't even know about $1 million,
Mhm.
you would lose it. You would
Yeah.
not know anything to do with it.
Absolutely.
Right? If I asked you, here's $1 million, turn it into 10 million by the end of the year. you would not know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But someone who is ready for that level, they'd be like, absolutely, I'll be done. End of the year, they make it 20 million.
Yeah.
So
Upscale.
exactly. So focus on what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time in terms of make sure it's quality. Whatever you're offering, do it quality. Because it kind of comes back to business relationships. Have a quality relationship. Have a quality business.
Yeah.
Because if you have a shitty business or a shitty relationship,
Mhm.
it will fall. It will fail.
Yeah.
It will literally fail. The foundation will break. So set the foundation right, and moving forward, you build upon it, level by level.
Yeah.
And once you have when you have a solid foundation, that thing will not collapse on you.
Yeah. That's Faraz for you all, high performance coach. But Faraz, go ahead and give them your credentials so that they can, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So you all can find me on YouTube or Instagram at Coaching by Faraz. That's Faraz. I'm all about helping people become the better version of themselves. So go ahead, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you, and we can make that happen.
Guys, go ahead and follow this guy. If you need good advice about anything, really, hit Faraz up.
Appreciate it, man.
But Faraz, really, thank you for coming. I appreciate that. Thank you for all your great advice. And let's do this again.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Bro, thank you.
Cool.
Guys, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like it, share it. Don't forget to go show Faraz some love. I will see you guys on the next video. You guys have a blessed day.
Peace.